podcast that provides a place for real conversation in the old-fashioned sense of the word. We discuss literature and touch on subjects like society and politics that often surround an author's writings. These podcasts are inspired by the great long-form conversational interviews of the 20th century, from Michael Parkinson's conversation with Orson Welles to the great BBC discussions with writers, artists and thinkers, and much more. And tonight we're joined by two female authors, and that is Jessica May and Ria Alice. And as always, we're joined by our resident author, Richard Arterton. Hey, Rich.
Hello.
So let's go back to a space of real conversation, a space that feels borrowed from another age. A dark room, a glass of whiskey, the faint glow of a lamp, and minds wandering through territories most would avoid. So leave the world at the door, take a seat in the dark, and let's begin. So, welcome Jessica and Ria, and thank you for joining us.
Hello.
Hello.
Thanks for having us.
And I think now Rich is going to take over with just an introduction about you guys.
Okay, yeah, so welcome. This is Ria Alice and Jessica May. They're two friends from the UK, from Essex, with a shared love of steamy romance novels. Their books contain pop culture references galore, fun, supportive friendships, and a spicy relationship to top it all off. When they're not writing, you can find them at a 2000s emo night, a karaoke bar, or marathoning cheesy rom-coms over a charcuterie board. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
What's that?
Like meats and cheeses.
Oh, I'm in. I'm in. I like that. I didn't know that's what it was called, but I'm in. And they have a strong presence on social media, which I'm interested to learn about because it's not a world I know so much. But you can find them on Instagram, author Ria Alice and Jessica May, and on TikTok, which youngsters will know what that is. I don't. So, yes, welcome. I've had the pleasure of reading Hidden Gem over the last few days in preparation for this, and I think it's fair to say I'm probably not your target demographic.
Probably not.
But I thought it was a really interesting read, and it reminded me, and I apologise if you get this reference a lot, but it reminded me of 50 Shades of Grey. Not that I've read that book, but I remember being on holiday in Tenerife when it first came out. You'd be youngsters then, presumably. And I looked around the swimming pool, and it seemed like every female around the swimming pool was reading that book.
Yeah.
And the few that were on these big old-fashioned Kindles, I should imagine were reading it as well. So it clearly tapped into something, the zeitgeist of that moment, or, you know, something changed in the 2000s or 2010s, where suddenly spicy romance became okay. And instead of being something that was kind of hidden away, or you had to be like part of some club where you had to turn up with a Mac on and a hat to get, it suddenly became sort of mainstream. And I think an audience like Amazon and Kindle Publishing has seen just an explosion of that. And now it's very popular, isn't it?
Yeah.
So could you tell us a little bit about your journey of how you started and your inspirations for beginning the Hidden series?
Yeah. So we were at a boot sale, just randomly. I had a lot of kids' clothes. My son was probably like 2.5 at the time. I had piles and piles of kids' clothes, and I said to Jess, shall we go and do a boot sale, get rid of them all? Have you got anything you want to flog? And Jess had a few books. And one of them was a spicy romance novel that you'd read and lent to me, and it was the first one I'd ever read, that kind of, you were my gateway drug, I guess, to spicy romance. And we'd got to that dead time of the morning where it's like 11:30, 12, everyone's getting tired, the stalls are starting to pack up, and we're looking at this book on the side, and we're like, right, shall we go? And I just picked it up, or you picked it up, and we were like, we have read so many of these now, I feel like we could write one, which I said quite flippantly, which is quite a theme in our friendship, is we do flippantly say like, oh, we should just go to Paris for the weekend.
And we just go to Paris, yeah.
Or like, let's join a Zumba class, and then we go to Zumba for 6 months, and then we are, well, I wouldn't say we're like spontaneous, but we're quite like, oh yeah, if we say something out loud, it will happen. So I just sort of off the cuff went, we could write these. And then by that evening, we'd voice noted the rough storylines to the 4 books in our series and had them all the characters named.
Yeah.
And knew like big plot points.
Yeah, and then it just kind of went from there, really. Yeah.
So there was something there, because I've had many a conversation, particularly in the pub late at night with friends, where it's like, we should write a sitcom.
Yeah.
Or, we should do this. We should, and in the morning it just doesn't ever manifest. But
Yeah.
but that evening you were clearly onto something, because that evening you already had the momentum going.
Yeah, I think just because we were so connected to sort of like the tropes of the genre, and we knew exactly what we liked when we read other books like it. And some of them, they're quite like linear, like the way that these like romance books go. So we were still sort of joking at the car boot sale about like, oh, he can be called like something cool like Zane. And then
I like the name. Zane.
We just kind of kept running with it, and then we were like, okay, well, should we just go home and plan this book then?
I'm really interested in the dynamic between the two of you, and because it's not often people write books together,
Yeah.
like two people. It's not like music where you have Lennon and McCartney or the Gallagher, where you have two people writing together. This is quite unusual. Now, I noticed on your socials that, and I don't know whether it's for camera or it's real, but you sat opposite each other with the laptops out. Now, is that for real? Do you actually do that?
Yeah. So we write either online or in person. We don't live far from each other. And we always just got our own laptops, and we write. Either if we're stuck, we'll talk to each other and write it, or sometimes we write like a paragraph ahead and behind each other, and then they like come together. But it just works.
That is
We're just
fascinating.
always on the same page.
Well, are you literally on the same page? Do you have a live document on each laptop?
Yes. Yeah. We're on Google
And so,
Docs.
God, that's so interesting. Because as a reader, you don't see the overlap. You don't see
Yeah.
where Jess starts and Rhea finishes. You don't see it because it's just one continuous. So, style-wise, how have you managed to achieve that?
I think we have very similar brains. So I think we do, the way we speak and the way we would kind of describe a situation is quite similar anyway. So I think our kind of vocabulary is very similar. And we are, as you say, we're usually on the same wavelength quite a lot with where we see the trajectory of something. Like, it's very rare that we kind of bicker over a situation.
Yeah.
Or if one of us is like, oh, I don't quite think that, we're very quick to be like, okay, yeah, actually, I can see where you're going. We don't have big kind of conflicts on things. So I think that helps that our voices are quite similar. And we do find, as Jess was saying, sometimes if she's writing like this bit up here and I'm writing this bit here and we come together, we'll read them back, and I'm trying to think of a random thing now, but you might have said smiles widely, and then I'm like, oh, I've said smiles widely down here, and we're like, we'll change that, or like a little phrase, we'll have both used the same one, and we're like, okay, we'll change them, because generally
That's
we
so
are
interesting.
kind of in that psyche together.
And when you read them back on the train, are there any moments where you don't know who wrote which bit?
I think
Yeah.
all of it. I mean,
really?
so we write it separately in those instances, but it's like we'll then instantly go back and like edit it together. I couldn't pinpoint who wrote what bit in any of them, apart from maybe like the odd scene, because then when we're going through our first draft, we go through separately, and we add in bits. So if there's like someone's added an entire scene, then like I might go back and just change a few little bits, but I'll know that like Rhea wrote that. But the bulk of the story, no, it's pretty much just our brains together.
Your brains must be so together, because I just imagine the logistics if I was trying this with someone else. I'd be like, let's say I had a friend called Gary. People used to be called Gary. I don't know if you know that. They're not called Gary anymore. But like, if I had a friend called Gary and I was writing with them, I'd be like, Gary, for God's sake, you changed that bit and now that bit doesn't work. That chapter doesn't match with that. What have you done, Gary?
Yeah.
But you don't seem to have had that problem.
No, I mean, when we go through and we edit it, we highlight it in a different colour. So I do red and Rhea does pink, so we know where we've changed it. But we very rarely, like, any pink bit I will just make black. Do you know what I mean? It's very, very rare that we disagree on anything, and we always say what we disagree on doesn't matter. So, like, we we were trying to decide on whether to say Mediterranean or European, and that's probably the closest we've got to an argument. And then we were like, at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter.
It's not furthering the story. Something like flip a coin on it and move on.
But yeah, I know what you mean when you just dwell on one word.
Yeah.
What did you go for? Do you remember what you went for?
I don't.
I think we took it out. I think we're like, they're not going to be in Italy anymore.
Italy.
They can just be in London.
Well, the thing is,
And it's Italian
European
themed.
could be Icelandic.
True.
Yeah.
Whereas Mediterranean, you imagine
I
the
think we should
olives.
reopen this can of worms.
I don't want
I'm
to
sure
start an
I
argument.
said Mediterranean.
But if you're
But
going
yeah.
for the olive skin of your main character, then
Yeah.
Mediterranean.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, we were like,
interesting.
I'm fairly certain we just ended up taking it out. And we were like, it doesn't actually matter. It's just,
If in doubt, take it out.
Yeah.
So, you sound like do you plan the whole plot beforehand, before you write a word?
Yeah, so the first one we planned it all bullet points, and then we worked off like a general structure, and then we went back and we sort of added a chapter breakdown afterwards, and then since then we realised that it makes more sense for us if we do the chapter breakdown first and then work off the chapters, and then we can always add in chapters if we feel like it needs it. But yeah,
yeah, like some chapters are very loosely planned. Like they might just say like date or friendship chapter or something. But then others can be very kind of dense with information of what we're going to put. If there's a lot of the time at the start of the book, particularly we started our second series now, but in the first series in every book there is at least 2 or 3 big milestone moments that we could picture really clearly, that we knew we were going to work towards through the story. So they're really heavily planned, but a lot of the other ones are just kind of like, okay, they're going to see each other here, or and they'll be quite loose, and then we get to it and flesh it out.
I like the chapter titles with the character perspective. I like that choice. I remember David Baddiel did it in Whatever Love Means, and that worked really well. However, you do it in first person from that character.
yeah.
So did you find it difficult with like the character voice to make a distinction between the characters when you're writing in first person? I say that because I would.
In the first book, I think it was a lot easier because he is Colombian British. It was easy to just like throw in Spanish words and be like, that is what makes him a bit more distinctive. We also made a very clear choice of he never abbreviated anything, and he wasn't like a nickname guy, whereas she was very nicknamey and colloquial. We made him a lot more straight with his language. It wasn't so much a thing which we imposed in the other books, but I think they kind of grew naturally with like Theo was just, again, he's very like jokey and light-hearted and like makes a joke out of everything. Axel's quite like straight-laced again, but quite sarcastic. I think Ezra was probably the loosest voice that kind of just emerged as we were going, and I think the girls are probably quite similar.
Yeah.
They have distinctive parts, but
I think like, yeah, we actually made a joke for Hidden Gem that Rhea was better at writing Zane's bit because she's better at flouncy language. I was better at writing Lila's bits.
Right, okay.
It's like putting in a long word. It's like, oh, okay, I'll be sane.
Well, Jess can ask, is that because you're more angry? Because at the start...
Maybe.
She's really angry, isn't she?
She's a redhead too.
Yeah.
I do get angry, maybe, about things.
Because she flashes from, like, anger to lust and backwards and forwards. And,
Yeah.
yeah,
a little fiery.
Is that a trope of the genre? Like, passion and...
I think we
anger?
we wanted strong female characters, and not that there's anything wrong with a woman who just purely wants to be in a relationship or wants the attention of a man, but we were very clear on like we wanted them to have their own thing and that the relationship adds to it. And I think with Lila being our kind of first out the gate, she probably took a lot of her own feelings on as well of like, don't be a player and like I can't think of any other examples, but I'm just thinking
like
of that
not
one
letting
scene.
someone like walk all over her kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, we did have feedback from some people that they found Lila a bit annoying, like a bit much. and it made her, like, there was a second where when I was reading it back I was like, maybe she is, but then I was like, well, actually no, because she just doesn't like this guy, and like, why should she just be quiet and like give in to him? I mean, she's probably not a very good personal assistant, but
No.
And
Make your own coffee. Yeah. Do your own filing. What do you think I'm here for? Yeah.
yeah, but then I've had feedback from other people that they really like Lila, so it's just, you know, it's good to have sort of a polarizing character rather than just someone that's
I agree.
got no
Yeah, 'cause-
personality. Sorry.
Could I ask a question there? Because I had a few questions, more to do with women and society and how you may have affected the genre, and that kind of links. Because what I was thinking was, do you think women writers like yourselves have changed how we view romance in this way? Do you think that this character that you're speaking of, do you think she's an example of how women are different now about the power in a relationship and romance? Do you think there's anything in that in your writings?
Yeah, I think so. Like Rhea was saying, we wanted her to have a full life, and this goes for all of the female characters. I mean, and the male characters as well. But we wanted them all to have like a full life, and they're not just gonna succumb to any man, basically. And to reference 50 Shades of Grey, if I'm not about to dunk on it, I think that in those series she's very much like bends to his will immediately, and she's gone from someone who's like not interested in that world at all to being in that relationship, and I just don't personally know if that's exactly good for women in the same way. Whereas I think that our books, we've tried really hard to like show that they've got really strong female friendships as well. It's not just about the relationship, like they are okay without a man. And yeah.
So is that your kind of, do you feel like you have a moral responsibility towards women, or are you offering, is it about empowerment?
I don't know if it's something we've ever really kind of considered, or it's not something we've put in the forefront and done on purpose. I think naturally, because that's how we feel, and we are lucky, like people, it may be one of your questions, like a lot of people say to us like, what do your partners think of this? And they're like, they're fine.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the time, again, it's kind of, even though we've written it and we're the ones that have put all this effort in, it's then like, oh, but what does your like male partner think about this? Like, are they offended because you write smut about 4 different guys that we like giggle and kick our feet over? And it's like, no, I mean, your husband proofreads the first draft. Right. But so I think it's just naturally, we are lucky that we're in an environment that we can we feel empowered to write these stories and to not have to worry like, oh, is our partner going to be like offended? And equally, I just think it's natural that we're doing it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And if women read it and they feel empowered to have a book boyfriend, even if they're in a relationship, like, that's great. And
A book boyfriend.
yeah.
Like that. And what about other parts of your family?
Oh yeah, so we actually made a...
Do you make them blush?
I don't know. We made a safe for work version of Hidden Gem.
Oh,
So
did you?
basically we just took, what we thought we took all of the spice out, but there were definitely some bits that we didn't take out.
There's only 2 copies of that. Like, your dad and my mum had one. But
so my dad's read it, and he hasn't really said much to me about it apart from at his wedding speech on my wedding. He said that even the not safe for work version is very not safe for work.
So thanks, Dad. That's the time to say it.
Yeah.
A room full of everyone I know. How do you, with the intimate scenes, is it hard to make them feel meaningful as part of the wider text rather than simply included because you want the spice in it?
Yeah, I think, again, with the first book, and I don't think our first book's too different from the rest of the series, but it was definitely our playground and like learning ground in a way. And so there are 11 spicy scenes in the first book, and I feel like there was a lot of us kind of going like, oh, well, maybe they need to do this now. And it wasn't that we were just adding them in willy-nilly, but I think we definitely amped it. Whereas in the later books, there was, in the second one, for example, there's a scene towards the end of the book, or about 3/4 of the way through. And we thought it was going to be like a spicy scene where they're on the phone. And then we got to the scene and we were like, I just don't feel like this is a time where they would take it to that level. It feels like it actually is going to be a really tender and delicate moment between them, and like maybe kind of a relationship moment rather than just the purely physical side that those two had been going through. So I think we were a lot more like, we felt braver to not put them in. Whereas I think when you're writing a spicy romance and it's your first one, you're like, it has to be spicy. I still feel like they have a place in the first book, but I think it definitely was, as we went through, more of a like, actually no, maybe it doesn't have to be at this point.
I wonder if you're writing whether it would develop over time, that the kind of spiciness will come down, and like the emotional intimacy aspect, as you were just saying. That seemed like quite a breakthrough, that moment. And you mentioned, you said it was brave. That, you know, I don't know how far ahead you think, but like, you know, 5 years down the line, you know, because you want to, you know, I want to develop as a writer, you know, and change, whether that might be an avenue you go down, or you know, because the sense I get of the of Hidden Gem is that it's quite fun, you know, and you get that from your socials as well, that you're doing it because you enjoy it, you're writing because you enjoy it, and that really comes across. But would you like to be, let's say 10 years time, do you think you might write more like a serious romance, Wuthering Heights style? You can just say no.
I just don't. No. I just feel like for us, it's so like, we're so giddy when we write. Like, we'll write a scene, and it's not even a spicy scene. We'll write like a flirty scene, or like we'll write, one of the characters says something and one of us will write it and the other one will read it and they'll be like, oh, I can't believe you just said that. Like, it's like we're living it in a way. That doesn't sound like totally cringe.
And in the more, like, if you have an evening writing session where you're having a giggle or a glass of wine or whatever, in the morning, are you editing going, I can't say that?
Yeah,
definitely way more at the start. Like, at the start, we used to have to get drunk to write them together, and there was was it Gem? No, it was Agenda. We were writing on the Eurostar, on Talent.
Yeah,
and we'd been to Paris. That's so flippant. Like, we'd been to Paris for the weekend, and we were writing, and we were quite drunk on the train back, and we wrote this like spicy scene. And then the next day we read it back and we were like, oh my God.
We didn't take it out.
No, it's there.
Take it out? Oh, good.
No, it's very much there. But we just say, like, when our work peers found out about it, and they're like, oh, can I read it? How am I going to look at you the same? I just joke and go like, well, Jess wrote those bits. Even though we write them together, we do have a good scapegoat.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, yeah, no, I couldn't possibly write those scenes. It's all Jess.
That's handy. That's really handy.
Yeah.
And... is there any trope of the genre that you've deliberately avoided?
Yeah, probably loads. What were you going to say?
I was going to say
the clear one.
Yeah, I was going to say the pregnancy trope.
Yeah.
I don't really know why we've avoided that, but I don't think it appeals to either of us.
So in
we've
the genre,
had pregnancy in our books, but the relationships are already established. Yeah.
So a regular trope of the genre, I apologise not for being familiar, but is the protagonist getting pregnant?
Yeah, like accidentally pregnant. There's also we would never really do a cheating trope, like the main character cheating, I don't think.
Right.
I think we're coming up, but not currently.
Not yet.
But no. Yeah, we also don't go into like dark romance, because I would say there's probably three main genres within romance, and it's like romantasy, which again isn't really our bag, romance that we're like spicy romance, and then there's dark romance, and I feel like we would never kind of veer into dark romance, because is
that kind of the BDSM kind of
it's like really
it's consensual non-consent and like violence and
cat and mouse stuff.
I feel that's a wormhole you could go down.
Yeah.
But at the
particularly
same time, never going to yuck someone's yum.
It's very
but,
popular.
and it's popular for a reason, but it's just probably something that, we're not.
Right.
We prefer,
Do you-
we like tension, we like
Yeah.
the build up of that. Kind of.
Yeah, but like I think mutual respect as well
Yeah.
between like the both parties. Like even if one of them's a bit of a dick at the can I
Yeah.
say dick
you can, yeah.
at the start, there's
Yeah.
there's still like a respect
Consent.
that they have for the like the other protagonist, and obviously
Yeah.
like consent is a big important thing for us.
Yeah, of course. And do you get unwanted contact because of the nature of the genre? Feedback?
So, as in, like, are people...
Like online, I mean. Like on your reviews, or you don't have to...
No, I think we're
Edit them.
we're open with the content in terms of on socials. We're very open that it is spicy. What we accidentally made a video an ad. Like we were trying to sponsor a different video, and somehow I sponsored a quote, and it was quite a spicy quote, and it got loads of traction, and it definitely
Yeah.
went into the wrong side of TikTok as
Yeah.
well. But we got comments
Right.
like some people were like, "Help me, I'm scared," and they were like, "What is going on?" But we've
Right.
never had like anyone be kind of cruel or
No.
belittling of it. We
Right.
then, if we're like out and about, we try to do a lot of marketing in smoking areas. On nights out, we'll take our business
Oh,
cards
okay.
and we'll go up to girls and guys, and we'll go up to a guy and be like, "Do you have a girlfriend?" And they're like, "No," and I'm like, "Bye then." And then if they say yeah, we're like, "Great, she'll love this book." And we get a lot of guys that are like, "Oh," and can be a bit leery over it, and then we just kind of walk away and we're just like, whatever.
Okay.
But no,
Yeah.
thank you for
But
the
in-person marketing you find most effective? Is that right?
I would say it's probably online.
Right.
And also, I think, sorry to go back slightly to the last question in terms of like hate online or whatever.
Yeah.
I think that it's such a huge thing on TikTok. Like the spicy romance community is so.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's like vast.
Wow.
That I think we're in such a good like area on TikTok that we don't really get anyone that's not looking for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why we don't really get any sort of hate in that way.
You do get like we haven't had it ourselves, but I've observed it from like further in the community, and I guess sometimes just from people in the world, I think they don't take it as seriously.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
So they'll say because it's spicy romance and it isn't
It doesn't count.
a psychological thriller.
Oh.
There can be a
right.
lot of people that look down on the genre
Yeah.
and think that it's just like a silly little romance book, and like we joke and say they're silly little romance books, but they're not. Like
Yeah.
the same time and effort's gone into them. Or
Yeah.
That's
And I do
interesting.
think-
That was one of my questions as to whether you felt like you were taken seriously. As I can tell, as we can tell, listening to you, you're very serious writers and you think about it actually, even though you're having lots of fun.
Yeah.
But yes, so you've just answered
Yeah.
the question that sometimes you're not because of the genre.
Yeah, I definitely think that like you can brush it off as just people not liking the same genre as you, and so they'll like think badly because you're reading a book that's just got a fairly simple storyline. But if like I wanted to get deep about it, I could just as easily say that it's like rooted in misogyny and like the whole issue around anything that is a predominantly female interest is just looked down upon by, well, not even just men, just like society in general. It's like fangirls versus like football fans. That's looked down upon.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, so you
So,
still
yeah.
sense that because today
Yeah.
we would expect a little bit more equality, but you're still feeling it.
Yeah, and like and I think it has got better because obviously, like you said, prior to sort of 50 Shades of Grey, it was like something that people would have to read secretly in their room and not
Yeah.
let anyone know that they're reading like a smutty book. Whereas
Yeah.
now it's like a lot more liberal, I suppose, in that way.
and with the TV show adaptations of things as well, I think that's made a big jump in the genre of romance as a whole, with like heated rivalry off campus. Even The Summer I Turned Pretty, it isn't overly spicy, but just that kind of female interest and romance in the last
Yeah.
couple of years, you've really seen that. And I mean, you look at the roster on Prime Video and Netflix and what's upcoming in the cinema. And a lot of it now is spicy book adaptations, and it's really marketed to that audience, and it's doing it like insanely well. So I think that's really helping to push the genre as well.
Did you like Saltburn?
I haven't read it. Is it a...
It's the Barry
movie.
Keoghan
Yeah,
thing.
oh, right.
I didn't mind it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it, but yeah, I don't really have too much of an opinion on it, to be honest.
I didn't know, cause the only reason I asked is I didn't know, because it had a female director, if some of the more intimate scenes were from a more female orientated like viewpoint, rather than cinema, which has traditionally been,
Yeah.
you know, when you see sex scenes in Hollywood, like
They're
over
very
the
male
last
gaze.
Male gaze, yeah. Like the woman is nude, and you never see the man, and like
Yeah.
Yeah. I
and
think
that's,
again
that's
that's
changing.
changed quite a lot. Yeah, I mean,
Because you have
again,
intimacy coordinators now, don't you, and things
Yeah.
like that.
yeah. I could be wrong. I feel like in Off Campus it was maybe directed by a woman.
Sure.
And again, and I think that's another thing that A, we like about the genre, and B, other people like, is because you get both perspectives. It
Yeah.
isn't so much as like the man is like big and burly and moody, and you don't know what he thinks about the woman, and then you only follow
Heathcliff,
the female. Yeah, and you follow
Yeah.
the female who's like giddy and, oh, I hope he likes me. You get to, even if their interaction is very, her being a bit giddy and him being a bit standoffish for a minute, you then flip into his point of view and you get his inner turmoil, or like the reason he isn't going for it, or you have him being like, oh my god, she's consuming every thought, I'm really falling for her. And
Yeah.
so you do get both sides of it, and you get him enjoying the pleasure of it and watching her, and it takes a lot of that gratuitous nature out of it.
Yeah. Because we would, Kathryn and I were talking earlier about Trumpet Major, which is an old Victorian Thomas Hardy novel.
Okay.
Kathryn, do you want to say anything about that?
Well, it is just because a lot of those genres, you know, like Darcy, I know it was written by a woman, Sense and Sensibility, Pride and Prejudice, but Hardy has written some romance novels, and they're often kind of from the man's perspective, and the woman is choosing the shy introvert man, because that's the poet that's writing the story.
That's the male author.
That's the male author. Rather than, you know, the soldier who's killing everyone, because that's not who he is. So he's kind of designing woman's appeal towards an introverted man who is the writer. And I'm thinking that a lot of those old romances are, the woman is demure, and they are attracted to these more introverted, quiet men. But they're often the writers, aren't they? They're almost yes, rather than. And now
So true.
you're writing about women who could be attracted to lots of different types. So it's, I think you're adding something there.
Yeah. And so, what do you think? This is just a publishing question now. What do you think you've learnt about book covers and titles since becoming authors? So from when you initially started to where you are now, you're just starting your second series. What do you think you've learnt on the way?
So Jess designs our covers.
Good for you.
I did it.
Yeah. Well, you definitely
A
did
live
more.
document.
You've got the hand.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'll be wiggling my mouse around, but you'll
Well,
be
they
there.
look great. They look fantastic.
Yeah, they've got a certain look, haven't they? And you'd know that's your book. So
Yeah.
that's
We had
brilliant.
Tampa Pro and a dream.
Yeah.
And Kindle. I mean, I don't do this, but Kindle readers love a series, don't they?
Yeah.
And they like to get involved with the series and it go on and on.
Yeah, we
So-
were quite passionate about doing a series. Well, it's
Right.
interconnected, so they're not the same couple throughout the whole thing.
Right.
And that's just kind of the genre that we like to read.
Yeah, you kind
Yeah.
of get to see what happens when the credits roll, so to speak, but
Yeah.
not from the direct perspective. But you'll get to see Lila and Zane from book one, for example, their relationship in the background of the other three,
Yeah.
and vice versa as they kind of build on and on. I think we're definitely finding it harder to pick titles for our new series. I feel
Yeah.
like because we.
You're finding it harder. That's interesting.
Yeah, we kind of stumbled across Hidden Gem, because I don't know if you've noticed in Hidden Gem we say Hidden Gem, And I and I just went, oh, that's a good name, as we were reading
Okay.
it, and we both looked at each other like, maybe
Yeah.
it is, and we kind of put it to the side.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then as we were kind of going on, we were like, well, what other hiddens are there? And we were like, hidden agenda, hidden talent, and
No,
target.
but that
and then-
works, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Marketing-wise. Yeah.
and we'd
yeah.
love to follow a similar trajectory for the second series, but we want to have longer titles. And so it's, and they are interconnected again. So we are finding it a bit more difficult to think of titles for the second series.
But to be honest, we didn't come up with the title straight away.
No,
So
we're about
maybe it's
halfway
just-
through the book.
And we
Right.
have got a title about halfway through the book again. It's
Yeah.
just the series doesn't have as quite as strong as a, one word, and then quite as strong as a.
Oh, I see.
yeah.
The same word
Flow,
used in each
yeah.
title.
Yeah.
Can you reveal anything about the second series, or is this stum?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, so right now we don't have a release date, whereas with the first series we were like bam, 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 like getting them out quite quickly because we wanted that first series as well. We've taken our time a bit more with the second series. And when you were saying about publishing and things, we've actually thought maybe with this series we will take it a bit slower, potentially explore traditional publishing and see if there's like
Okay.
any route for us in that avenue.
Yeah.
Not that we would never be against self-publishing, because with anything we've succeeded with has all been free self-publishing, but we're like,
Yeah.
we're at a good point to maybe try that.
Yeah.
So we can give exclusives, but it might be a
Oh.
while.
Oh,
so,
not yet. Well, you'll
Yeah.
have-
Okay,
Our
watch this
second-
page.
yeah.
Pardon.
Watch this space.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. It will be coming. We finished the first draft, so
Yeah.
there is a book. We just don't know when it's going to come out yet.
No.
But yeah,
So,
it's. Oh, sorry.
So I was just going to talk about Hidden Gem. From childhood grudges to office desires. And the book overview to Lila. Zane was a childhood bully. Her brother's best friend, her new boss, a sex god, ? Lila Hart, after getting through the toughest year of her life, faces another blow when she's made redundant. The company she works for is acquired by her childhood nemesis, she's avoided for nearly a decade, a gorgeous Colombian billionaire and her older brother's best friend. Zane Moreno has it all, charm, wealth and a burning desire for success, but when he reluctantly hires Lila to his personal assistant, they are forced back into each other's day-to-day lives, bringing chaos to his perfectly curated schedule. Between Lila's defiant, sarcastic attitude and Zane's domineering, resolute character, they clash over every decision, but find themselves irresistibly drawn to each other in a whirlwind of fiery banter, steamy encounters, and hidden moments. With work deadlines and the pressure of concealing their relationship, will Zane be able to prove that he is no longer the same boy from her childhood, or will Lila's negative memory of him be proven right? So this is available on Amazon Kindle. Where else can the audience find it?
It's on Waterstones Online.
Yeah.
If you're in Colchester, it's at Red Lion Books, and if you're in Cambridge, it's I forgot what it's called. Sorry, start again. You go.
Yeah, if you're in Colchester, it's in Red Lion Books on
Yeah.
the High Street, and if you're in Cambridge, it's in For the Love of Romance bookstore as well.
See, this is why it's good to
Great.
work as a team. You know, that works. This is exactly an example of why it works. Okay, so we have a section now that Kathryn is going to introduce, and it's just she'll introduce it.
Okay, so it's just a quick 60-second off-script section where we're just mixing up some fun questions to find out a little bit about our authors with a little bit of imagination, maybe a little bit of politics thrown in, but only gentle. So the first question is, we have a new Prime Minister. As this is Page to Politics, we have to mention this.
By the time it
He's-
goes out, we might have another one.
Yeah.
That's all we're saying.
Okay,
Yeah.
Andy Burnham. So if you guys were Prime Minister for one day, what might you change? Anything you would do?
Oh my god.
I'll let you answer.
Everything.
You've only got one day. That's a big brief for one day.
Some priorities.
Oh my god, that's a really hard question.
A 4-day working week.
Oh, okay. Which is actually something people think about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then we
it
could
could
write on the
work.
5th.
Yeah.
There's a lot of time we're like trying to write around the work
Yeah.
as well. So yeah, 4-day working week so we could have our hobbies more.
Yeah, a little bit of work-life balance, which
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
we all need. Yeah.
I think that would be enormously popular.
It
Yeah.
would be brilliant. And
Yeah.
the creativity that you are adding to the world is supporting that, isn't it? It's supporting people to be able to do that. So that's brilliant answer,
You
actually.
can win
Yeah.
over the public, and then they won't vote you out straight away again.
Yeah, we'll get a
Yeah.
second death.
Okay, and the other question is, if big hands came along and picked you both up and dropped you into a novel or a film, where would you like to be?
It's a hard question.
You have to
think of all,
think.
like, my
your
book
imagination.
boyfriends.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
I'd like to go into, and it's a bit of a cop-out, but into one of our books. And I'd like to specifically go to a scene in the 4th book where Axel and Ezra have a bit of a showdown.
Oh,
I'd like to be there.
So you want to be a fly on the wall in your own book that you created?
I do.
Yeah, I like
if I
it.
could,
I like
that
it.
would be if, as my day of Prime Minister, I could, I can create them as human beings. I'd do that.
I think you
too.
might be overstretching your power a
Yeah.
little bit. I want to
That'll
create
take
a
a few
human
days.
being.
Wow, but that shows the depth of your imagination. That I can feel it. That you've written these, but you're living it, and you could
Yeah.
imagine experience it, which is
If
something
I-
that people could dive into.
Yeah. If I had to choose one that wasn't ours, then I'd probably just go into Twilight because
Oh,
that would
yes.
really
Okay.
that really opened my mind as a tween, I guess.
Was that the first book that you really fell in love with literature?
Yeah, I would say so. I watched the films first. I think they came out in like I think I was maybe 12, maybe a bit younger.
Right. Yeah.
And I struggled to read when I was younger. I'm
Right.
dyslexic.
Wow,
So
Oh, what a
it wasn't-
journey.
amazing.
Yeah. So it wasn't something that I ever like strived to do, to be honest. But because
Did you
I
like
love
English at school?
like in terms of dissecting literature, like poetry and stuff, I like to
Yeah.
like look into it, but I didn't
Yeah.
like spelling, basically.
Oh, okay. Right. Yeah.
So that side of things, spelling and punctuation is still not really my strong
But you get that
suit.
little red squiggly line now, don't you, in the right
Yeah,
click?
sometimes.
We do have a
Yeah.
video really far back on our socials of like funny ways you've spelt words that we've like changed.
Ah,
We'll have
great.
to repost that
Yeah.
at some point.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I'll spell a different word right, and then it won't recognise it as the wrong word. But I feel like because I like the film so much, it like pushed me to read it.
Yeah.
So it was like one of the first book series, and it's not a small book series either that I actually like
No.
finished.
And I haven't read the books, but how do they compare to the film?
Um,
Because is it Kristen Stewart?
yeah,
She seems very good in that role. Like, I think it's cast well, that movie.
yeah,
Like, yeah. And is it Robert Pattinson?
yeah.
Yeah, he's really good, isn't he?
I would say that the films are like very cringe, but in like a really comforting way.
Okay.
It's like nostalgia in a
It's
way.
like, yeah, very nostalgic. I know
Right.
they're not like the best films in the world, but I'll watch them every year.
Right. Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I hadn't read the books in ages, and then recently I actually listened to them again on an audiobook.
Oh, fab,
And
yeah.
they are quite similar, it's just that there's more detail. And actually in
Yeah.
the book, they've given, like, Bella's got a bit more of a personality in the book than she does in the film.
That's interesting.
And the
Right.
same for Edward as well, actually. Like, in
Yeah.
the film, he's not very flirty or, like, interested in Bella, it seems, for a lot of it. Whereas
Okay.
in the book, it's a lot more like there's a
Yeah.
dynamic between them.
Yeah,
Right,
I think they were one
okay.
of the first series that I was aware as well. I'm 6 years older than Jess, but
Right.
it was probably one of the first series that I was aware of that like brought teams in as well, like Team Edward,
Yeah.
Team Jacob, and like
Oh, okay.
there was
right.
more than just like one choice. Go into
Yeah.
how it is with Summer I Turn Pretty and things of having those teams that you could have girls really come behind or like the fans come behind,
that's
and
true, actually. It was a very, like, fangirly.
because you had it with
Yeah.
Hunger
Book
Games as
series.
well. Obviously,
Yeah.
they weren't. Hunger Games isn't that romantic. That would have been the book series I'd have picked, but it's not really one that's fun to be a part of as the Hunger Games.
Right. Okay.
But they had like Team Gale, Team Peter. So I think they
Yeah.
started to appeal
Yeah.
that way.
And This seems like a natural journey to me if Netflix are listening, because your series seems, very much in that you own that social domain of like TikTok and Bookagram. So if Netflix are looking for a series, do you have an idea? I know you've already rehearsed the documentary that you're going to do, but do you have an idea of who you'd like to play any of your characters?
We do.
Oh,
Not so much the women. But
And we'll
the
see
men.
if Kathryn and I have heard of any of them.
Yeah, I think the
Don't-
first one we struggled with a little bit, didn't we?
There's a guy who's part of an Amazon Prime. I still can't remember his name, but he was in an Amazon Prime show recently.
Yeah,
That would be Zane.
yeah.
And then Henry Cavill, if we could get him, would be Axel, if he fancies it. My partner loves Warhammer, so maybe we could get him in that
Yeah.
way. They could like bond over Warhammer.
Oh, because he's a fan of gaming, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then Theo would be Joe Keery from Stranger Things.
Okay.
Steve Harrington, we would want him. And then Ezra is like an Irish Harry Styles, but
Yeah, we'll
specifically
talk
from
about that.
2014
Yeah.
Harry Styles.
Specific.
Specifically
Why not now?
taken.
Well,
He's cut his hair slightly differently. I mean, don't get me wrong,
wouldn't
if
turn
Harry
him down.
Styles said yeah, we'd go
See, I
for
like
it.
Harry Styles now because for me, he's got a bit of a David Bowie vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like to get away from One Direction and like
Yeah.
that pop and be pigeonholed as you're going to have this career. It seems to me he's trying to create an art, like some integrity as an
Yeah.
artist.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And if he fancies being a bit brave, he did have a foray in acting.
We did,
So
so we'd have
Yeah,
him.
I've
We'd
seen
give
him
him
in
a
a few
shot.
things. Yeah.
he had a sex scene in Don't Worry Darling. So
yeah, My
and
Policeman.
My Policeman. So I think it'd
Yeah,
be
I
down.
saw that. Yeah. So you've got all the chaps sorted out, but none of the girls.
I had
No.
one more question. I had one more
Oh, yeah.
question.
Okay.
So did you fall in love with any of your characters while you were writing? Would you fight over them?
I think
Or are
we
you
fall in
each
love
different
with.
ones?
No, I think we fall in love with all of them when we're writing it. So like, for each one we fall in love with as we're writing their book. But then we both come back to Axel Ford, don't we?
When he appears again
Okay.
in book 4, we were like, here comes Axel.
Is he
So,
named
yeah.
after Axl Rose?
He isn't.
No.
I don't know where Axel came from. We were just like, cool Hollywood man. Axel.
And what is it? What is it specifically about Axel?
For me, Axel, so at the start of book 2, he's very he's the biggest actor in the world. He's working with this kind of newbie actress who he's like, oh, she's got like all the stars in her eyes and no idea. And he doesn't want to be doing the film he's doing. And he is a bit of an arsehole at the start. But what you find out about him and I like his character arc
Yeah,
like a lot as well. And he definitely goes from being like this hard shell, and you see that he's actually got like a very soft centre.
Yeah.
And you can see like the people that get through that exterior and that he loves, he's like ride or die for.
yeah.
And I like that about him. But we always joke and say we don't like the men when they're in relationships. Like once they get together in the couples and we see them again in the other books, we're like, oh, they're so boring now. That they're just like, I love my girlfriend. And then, whereas Axel is like that, but at the same time he still keeps like his jokiness and he ribs his girlfriend as well. But he also, you can see there's just like this intense love there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then, like, as you were saying, we go back to the other books and we're like, no, Zane is amazing. We love Zane.
Yeah.
So,
think-
And are any of the
said
characters
before-
going
oh,
into
sorry.
the? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jess. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, we've said before that like we love Axel as like a book boyfriend, but the reality is the boyfriend that you'd actually want is Theo, because he's just basically a sweetheart the whole way through. He
Yeah.
doesn't really. He's like. He doesn't have a bad bone in his body, whereas Axel, like Rhea said, has got that harder exterior. So in real life, you'd probably just be like, "What is this guy's problem?" Like,
he's like,
Right.
whatever.
And I think-
whereas Theo's like your bestie that you fall in love with.
I think that's very interesting about the genre, that maybe a lot of what we like to read is fantasy, but if it actually crossed into real life, we might not like it. But
Yeah.
for our fantasy, we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that true?
I think so. Yeah, definitely. I mean, definitely. I would say for the dark romance, genre. I think that, I mean, I can't speak for everyone, but I'm sure that there's quite a lot of like mafia romances and stuff, which is completely probably romanticising and glorifying something that's actually quite horrible.
Yeah.
And I think that people do like make it a fantasy and make it something exciting instead. I mean, it's not so much a huge issue with ours, but even the fact she's dating her boss, like in reality,
It's like escapism in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If
it
she
is,
went
yeah.
to Paris with her boss and ended up sharing a bed with him, that wouldn't be okay
That's
in
a
real
HR
life.
issue.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
We commented on that. Like, from a male perspective, I was like, no. You just like...
You'd be like, how many other hotels are there in Paris? You're a billionaire. Fly home. Get
Yeah.
a private jet home.
That's right, yeah. Okay, well, Ria, Alice and Jessica May, thank you so much for this conversation. It's been really illuminating in a genre that neither of us are particularly familiar with, but it's, you know, gaining a lot of attraction now, and I wish you all the success in the future with your new series, which we look forward to, we're going to look out for, and of course the Hidden series, which you can find on Amazon and Waterstones and in bookshops. Kathryn?
Yeah, excellent. You've inspired me, definitely. And yes, I will keep reading. And you're very inspirational women, both of you.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
So good for you. Thanks so much for doing this. We really appreciate it.
No, thank you for having
asking.
us. It's
All
been
right.
a lot of fun.
Best of luck. Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Angie.
Thank
See you
you.
later.
Thank you.
Bye.